Okay, it's Jesse Marsch from Footy Prime. Happy now?
There we go.
Are we happy?
Thank you.
But yes, so Alistair Johnston at Celtic. I think by the time we put this out, we'll find out who they're playing in the next round. It could be Real Madrid, it could be Barcelona. It's going to be a tough matchup. But regardless, Alistair Johnston, he's got the armband occasionally. He's got a new contract at Celtic. How big is his voice in the room with Canada and with you specifically?
Yeah, well, look, when I took the job, I obviously thought very highly of Alistair. And then, Brendan Rodgers and I are fairly friendly. So I was texting with him and, letting him know that I would be, because Alistair was one of the players that I visited first. And Brendan sent me this like long message about how much I'm going to love Alistair and how important he is for the future of Celtic. And so right away I was like, I was going to meet with Alistair because I believed in him and I knew he was going to be an important piece moving forward. But to get the message from Brendan, it was like, okay. And then, yeah, when people underestimate almost every aspect of what Alistair is, his technical ability, his intelligence, his athleticism, his ability in duels, strength, all of it. And I think I may have, from that perspective, just from watching him, underestimated all of those qualities as well. And then when I've gotten to know him, I think then you start to see the true power of his personality, of the player that he is. And so he has become a big voice. I've really enjoyed, we have the leadership council. So the leadership council is him, Fonzie, Steph, Kyle, Jonathan, and Richie. And the conversations we have with the guys in that room, and the honesty and openness, and the way we challenge each other to think about things at different times and say what we think. And there have been some really amazing discussions that have led us, I think, have helped us create the early foundation that we have as a team, and then have led us to having success in the early stages. So, but Alistair, he's got ideas, he's got opinions, he's not afraid to say them, but he's also a guy who's all in. He'll do whatever for the team.
I mean, it seems Celtic is the perfect fit for him, the way he plays the game. And I know Scottish football's somewhat maligned, but Celtic's almost bigger than Scottish football. Is it the perfect fit? Is that how you see it? Or do you see one day a bigger league being in this future?
In the moment, it's one of, whenever guys go to new clubs, you want them to be challenged, but you want them to be able to thrive. And so Alistair has gotten to that point. Now, when I watch all of his games, so what we do is we split up as a staff and we clip games, and it's like little 10, 12-minute clips of every it's like 57 players that are in the pool. So, and then we share them in a database, and then so we watch what they do every week. So, there are some weeks, obviously, when I watch Alistair where I just think the games are too easy for him, and so it is a good place for him. Obviously, the Champions League games are different. Now that's where you get challenged. I know a little bit like what Celtic, the sort of club is kind of like, because at Salzburg, we were a version of that in Austria. And at some point, that the players do need to be challenged in a bigger way. But for the moment, I think that Celtic is a perfect fit for Alistair.
You talk about Jesse personality and characters and things like that. Obviously, the goalkeeper position is one that you need a lot of that. You got a number of goalkeepers. You got Max Crepeau coming into his prime, Dane Sinclair, Tom McGill is playing at Milton Keynes at the moment, Jonathan Sirois, James Pantemis. I mean, we could go on. I mean, the goalkeeper position is pretty strong. How are you keeping an eye on all those guys, and how are you going to basically come to a decision on who's going to start the World Cup when that comes around? I mean, that's a little bit early to say, but
yeah, well, I would say that there's a competition for the third spot, right? And then there's the top two guys. And the top two guys, I know that how hard how ambitious both of them are. And I know how dissatisfied they are when I choose the other one, right? So, but it's been like a project with us three and Paulo, the goalkeeper coach, right? So 4 of us. And we've along the way had 10 discussions, right? And just really open about where we see each guy, what training's been like with each guy, how they're performing with their clubs, then what the decision is and why the decision gets made, but that we know that the competition will remain. And so, I mean, what they know is this is basically what I've said is it's really close between the two. I think they're both outstanding. And it's their job to create an environment in the team and in training where they 100% support each other, but 100% challenge each other. And the competition between those two is real. And they commit to it every day. I think it's made them both better, right? And that's what I said to him. I said, the key for this is it would be easy for both guys to kind of be upset. Like, even if you're chosen number one, like, I'm not the clear number one and I always got to fight for myself. And if you're the number two, like, I don't agree with this decision. And what I've said is, look, this is probably going to be like this until the World Cup, where it's a fight. And you have to prove yourself every time you train and every time you play. When you get the opportunities to play, you've got to take hold of them. You've got to perform well. And as of right now, that entire setup and relationship, and I hope that they appreciate the honesty and openness that I have had with them, and that it has allowed them to be free, to be at their best, to push for their best. And they're both incredible characters, and they've both supported each other really well in this whole process. So, yeah, and I tell you, this is among, probably for all the matches, there's maybe 8-9 guys that we kind of know that, okay, that's probably where we're going on that one. And then there's, there's the remaining 3, and the goalkeeper has been a discussion. Even when Max was playing so great in Copa, Dane was performing well. And in Copa and in training, I kept pushing Dane. I'm like, come on, Dane, more. So those two have both been very mature, great professionals, great people, and they're both going to be massively important as we continue to go.
Dubs, what you got?
Yeah, I thought Jimmy was jumping in there. See, Jesse, we're so professional. We even had an order established prior to you hopping on.
It's
hence
total
that,
podcast.
hence that long pause.
We messed it up.
I'm still sleeping.
It's total podcasting. There's no position or order. You just go with it. So take it
That's
away,
right.
Dubs.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your midfield. So not only like the individuals who are in there, the established kind of stalwarts like Eustachio and Osorio, but a guy like Mathieu Choignard, who has only had 5 caps prior to your arrival and has really emerged as somebody who can add a whole lot to that collective, no matter what the profiles or the personalities are in there. So what do you think about him and his game, his profile makes him a good fit for the style that you want to play? And then what do you see in him that encourages you that he can further elevate his game now that he's playing for Grasshopper Zurich?
Yeah, I mean, look, when I started watching, obviously there was the main kind of core group of guys that I knew, and I didn't need to watch that much before we got together the first time. And then there was sort of the secondary and tertiary group that I needed to get to know more. And as soon as I started watching Mathieu, I like guys that run. I like guys that go after things, that chase the ball, that hunt the ball, that play forward, that lose it, that try to go back to get it, that run back and defend, that tackle, that fight, that run, that, so, and in all the videos, this was Mathieu. He was just all over the pitch, sometimes too much. Sometimes he'd play right wing back. Sometimes he'd play 8. Sometimes they play him as a 6. Sometimes, so they were kind of using him all over. So with all of those things, I thought, okay, this is a player that has the eagerness to do the things that I like players to do. He probably runs around a little bit too much, and we maybe need to refine how he plays and make sure that we're clear with what his role is. But I think this is a player that's going to do, like, I had a list of like 8 players that I gave the staff right from the beginning. I'm like, look, these players I think are going to develop under us. Ali Ahmed was one, so players like this. And so, he has that, and he's intelligent. And now when we've kind of carved out a role for him, his understanding of what we need it fits. And he's a good passer, but he's not a great passer, but he tries the right things. Like, especially in the beginning, what I was saying to them is like, we have to recalibrate what mistakes are. Like, for me, mistake is not losing the ball. It's losing the ball if you play backwards. If you're always playing backwards and sideways and inviting the opponent to press us, those are mistakes, versus playing forward, trying the right kind of passes, even losing passes at at certain moments because we can go back and get them, but that will lead them, that will develop them the comfort tonight, how to receive the ball and with speed and pace and quality and see things. And then this is how they take their skills to another level. And then obviously just the standards that we have at what we do against the ball, how we press, how we counter press, how we make the last step, all these kinds of things. Like we like Matt. And then in Copa America, he was the guy that every day in training just was like, foop, 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 foop. And so he was the guy that every time was like, is it time for Matt to play yet? Is it time for Matt to play yet? Is it time for Matt to play? And then when we played the Uruguay game, that was clear. So that was one of the guys that was like, all right, Matt's on the board. He's on. And who else are we going with? So, and now I think he's even more established. Now it's been a little bit of a struggle at Grasshopper because, they've been in the relegation. They got the coach that brought him there is already gone. So he picked up a little bit of an injury. So, he's going through, him and Ishmael Kone, Tejan right now, they're going through a little bit of a time at their clubs where it's not so easy. And, I just send little messages or have conversations with them to say, keep going. Like, this is what it's like when you go to Europe. It's not easy. You have to earn everything, and by the way, that'll make you better. It'll make you stronger. Like, don't get frustrated. Don't complain. And the other part is they get lonely. It's lonely, like Matthew goes over there. He doesn't know anybody. He's, I always joke. I'm like, how's your German? How's your German? He's like, nothing. I'm like, no, nothing is in German. So, but he's trying, and this is, it's a cultural experience. I mean, you guys that you've gone, like it's about fighting for everything and showing that you can be trusted and that you can develop and that you're ready for everything. So Matty, I'm certain we'll get there. And I think he's going to continue to be a really important part of the team.
You mentioned Tejan Buchanan there, and obviously he's having a little bit of a difficult time breaking into that Inter lineup. We know he's had his injury in the past, and it's always hard when you're trying to compete against, Denzel Dumfries, who's in front of you, who's playing week in and week out. There's speculation now that Ajax are interested in him. Do you think it's important for him to maybe take that loan move now and get regular football, or continue where he is now and fight for a spot?
Yeah, we spoke about 4 days ago, and he wants to go out on loan. And I think that the club is going to work with him. We're there. There's this ongoing discussions, but he knows he needs to play, especially, look, we were all incredibly impressed with how he came through the injury. Like when we saw him at Suriname, we were like, what? Like, how is it possible? But the unfortunate part is he hasn't then been, because I think in the long term, it might be good for him to actually go through this, a lot of training and not as much playing. But now he needs to play, and hopefully when he gets back and play, because he's extended the overall recovery and training recovery, it means when he does start playing, a lot of times if you come back and so early and start playing, you pick up another kind of injury and then you kind of have a setback. But I think he's in a position now where he's strong, he's healthy, he's ready for something. Right. And so, he mentioned that maybe it's something where he stays in Italy, maybe, so I don't know. Someone said something to me about Ajax, so I don't know if that would be in the mix. But yeah, he knows he needs to play. He needs to get back in the rhythm, and, we need to get the Tejan of the best version of Tejan going. And then we can really start to push his overall development and make sure that by next summer, he's one of our most important guys.
Your predecessor said a few times that he really wants his players playing tier 1 leagues, the top leagues. That includes Champions League, of course. You got a handful of guys playing at that level right now. Is that something you also believe in, or is it more about just get your minutes, whether it's MLS, whether it's maybe a second echelon league within Europe?
Me, it's play. They need to play. Like, and I look, when you coach the big clubs, when the thing I hated the most about the bigger club that I coached is 11. It was always the case. It was so, no matter how much you talk about we're together, we're a team, we're ready for every moment. The 11 guys are happy and the other 14 guys are pissed off, right? And acting like babies, petulant babies, right? And I hated. It was like, I'm 50 years old, man. Why I don't feel like dealing with a bunch of millionaire, well-paid millionaire babies that when they really, I'm not joking. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I was just like, you know what, I'm going to take some time because
that's how Sharms and I feel, Jesse.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
But our guys are not. The only thing is and I would tell the players a lot. I'm like, look, because a lot of coaches in Europe, they don't talk to the players, right? And so if they don't train hard or whatever, then they go, okay, fine. Then just we don't play them, and then we sell them the next window. And I'm not like that. I'm like, let's develop the group. Let's create something where everybody's growing and building, and so that's how you build a club, right? And our guys are incredible people. So none of them are going to cause problems if they're not playing. None of them, right? They're going to work hard. They're going to come to work every day. Yeah, they're going to be unsatisfied, but sometimes when you're a player, you need to then go to the coach's office and close the door and say, hey, can we speak? And then say, look, I'm not happy. I work hard every day. I'm honored to be at this club. I'll do everything for the team, but if I'm not playing every week, then I'm not happy and I need to do something else. This isn't good for me. This isn't good for my career, my family. So we need to have an open discussion. Like, where do you see me? What's happening here? And I need to know what decisions I have to make for my career. Right. And too many of our guys, I think, just sort of come to training every day, do a good job in their work, and then and don't push the envelope. And so then the coach just knows, oh yeah, he'll do whatever, and he's not a problem. And then if I play him or not, it doesn't matter. Right. So there's a balance in there. Right. For me, as a player, as a coach, I think you have to engage your entire player pool. And as a player, I think there's a balance between doing everything for the team, working hard, showing up every day, but then also challenging the coach to hear, like, where do I fit? Why am I not playing? What do I need to do more? And if it doesn't work, then if I don't fit here, then I got to find somewhere that I do. But in the end,
sorry.
Let me to answer the question.
Of course,
I prioritize playing. I do. I think they have to play. Like, even when I say Alistair, some of the games he plays in, he's just too good for those opponents. He's playing week in and week out. He's really developing a sense of what high level football is, and he takes advantage, I think, of every second that he has at Celtic, and he performs. So that will ultimately that will create a development path and accelerate his learning curve.
Oh, you want me to go now, Sharms?
Yeah, your turn. Let's wrap it up.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Jesse, you've been with the Federation for 9 months, and you still haven't done our rapid fire, which is called Get to Know Me on Footy Prime.
All right, guys, it's good talking to
you. So here's 6 quick questions. They're nothing. Jimmy always gets nervous thinking I'm going to ask about your.
You know what they asked me? They asked me yesterday. Someone asked me, like, what's a double? What's a double? And I said a cheeseburger.
Not bad.
They asked me a 2-4, and I said a plank of wood. And you guys can help me. Like this is
this is it. So welcome, Jesse Marsch, on Get to Know Me on Footy Prime condensed edition. So first question: there is no soccer or football on television. What are you watching instead of sports?
I'm in the garden. I like to garden. So even in Italy, I have like olive trees, and so I'm always like. I made olive oil this past fall. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's
just wow.
Yeah.
Just way better than everybody else.
I'll have some of that.
You guys, next time I'll we can't do anything virtually, but next time I'll bring some olive oil.
Awesome. This is Use Your Imagination. You need to gain 60 pounds for your starring role in the 3rd Nutty Professor series, taking Eddie Murphy's spot. What is your go-to junk food to gain this weight?
So first of all, I need to lose 60 pounds. Probably.
I don't think so.
So have any of you guys, when you played, did you ever have your jaw wired shut?
No.
I wish some of them did, but.
Oh my God. They sound like my teammates. They're like, finally, Marsch, shut up. I had my jaw wired shut. And in that time, you realize what your favorite food is. Because you're eating from a blender and you're like everything and I was craving pizza. That's all for like 4 weeks. All I thought about was pizza. So that's I know that's my answer. Absolutely.
Is that why you now live in Italy? Is that the reason?
No, but it's
no. Okay.
It's
a good reason.
Good
pizza through a blender.
Yeah.
You're an accomplished footy head coach from. You're an accomplished footy head from player to coach. What would be the sport if it wasn't for soccer, and why?
It would probably be hockey, ice hockey, or, that was the sport I played the most.
I'd
And
say
what level
next
did you
time you're
get to?
asked
Yeah.
that question, though, don't say ice hockey. That's a tell. You just need to say hockey.
No, I know.
He
Yeah,
was
that's
talking
okay.
field
Europe,
hockey.
in Europe, and especially in England, you have to say ice hockey.
Right.
Because they think hockey is field.
Field.
Yeah.
And what was your experience with ice hockey? Just how far up did you go?
Yeah, until high school I played.
Oh,
So, in Wisconsin, I was always impressed here because, like, when I lived in Montreal, when they flood the parks, they put up the boards, and for us, it was clearing the pond hockey, and like maybe 2 rinks in town would be put in parking lots, and they would have boards. But, in a lot of days, we wouldn't even play like 6v6. There would be like 8v8 in those, just because everyone was so excited to have the boards that there'd be so many people out there. So it was just like madness. And then, some organized hockey as well. But then when I got to high school, I kind of was like, I was too small, I hit puberty late. And so soccer was kind of better for me than hockey. I was probably better in soccer too.
Well, listen, Canada Soccer, if you want some exposure on mainstream media, right? There's your in. Get some promos of Jesse on the ice. 4 Nations coming up pretty soon. Come on, Paolo.
Me getting crushed.
Let's go Leafs.
You have to cook for a fancy person. What is your go-to dish to impress them?
I have to cook for a fancy person.
Yeah.
What's a fancy person?
Cook. Listen, my olive oil's on the table. Okay,
Right.
So that.
Yeah.
I think you might be the fancy person. You're cooking for yourself.
I don't know. I think I'd probably cook. I'd probably do a fresh pasta, with maybe like a fresh pesto, lemon pesto kind of.
Yes.
Maybe some chicken or fish in there.
Okay, guys, we're going to be invited over to Jesse's place soon.
You're inviting yourself.
What European club do you cheer for, and why?
Growing up, my favorite was AC Milan. Now it's become less about. I don't really have a favorite team anymore. It's more, all the teams that I thought that I used to like, I played against at some point, and then I wanted to beat them bad. But there's certain clubs that when I look at it now, it's like I like the way certain clubs behave. Like the way that they are led, the way that they play. So in that vein, the way Liverpool runs the club is very impressive. A place like Brighton is, for me, very impressive. Maybe I'd Dortmund in Germany, I think, is, even though I coached at Leipzig, which all the teams I coach, I follow Salzburg and Leipzig and New York Red Bulls and Leeds and these clubs. But Dortmund, I like how they play young players, and they, even though they just fired their coach, they gave a young coach from inside their club a good chance. And I like things like that.
And here's your deserted island question. You get to choose a decade of music, 70s to the aughts. What decade 80s. And why?
80s, baby.
Yes.
There we go.
One of the best developments in my life was Stranger Things, because my kids started going, "Hey, Dad, have you heard this cool 80s song?" And I'd be like, "Bro, you have no idea." Okay,
Bro,
we were rocking high school in that song, baby. What do you mean? Have I heard this song?
Kate Bush is so popular now with 15-year-olds. It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I love it. So even there, we have 2 family Spotifys, just so we can and we share them, and all my kids' lists are all 80 songs, and I'm like, this is awesome. I've done it. I feel like I've done a good job as a father because they watch Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He puts his old green jacket on.
put them in front of the television, hit Netflix, and I'm a good dad.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best thing I did.
Well, thank you so much, Jesse Marsch, for playing Get to Know Me on Footy Prime. You're not done yet, but I'm just saying.
Okay.
You're pretty much done, Jesse.
Yeah.
so much for this. This is great. Really enjoyed it. And March, big games coming up, huge games, and maybe, who knows, 2 trophies this year. Is that possible? We'll have to wait and see. But it's a big year for Canadian soccer, and we can feel the buzz on this podcast. So thanks so much for joining us.
Awesome, man. Great, guys. Thanks for all the support. I try to catch you guys when I can. So I saw the one with Casey. I saw, so I'm excited. I'm going to meet her out in Vancouver. We're really excited about getting to know each other and working together. And I think you guys, you have fun, but you also talk football. And so, yeah, let me know. If you need me on again sometime, let me know.
We doing tomorrow? We've got a lot more questions.
I'm going to Winnipeg.
Get to know me with 900 questions with Jesse Marsch.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. Cheers. Appreciate it.
Guys.
Thanks, Jesse.
Cheers, Jesse.